Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yours truly, Marv's Room. I have a great video today for you guys in regards to mastering your emotions. Because, in my opinion, law of attraction, law of assumption journey should always be about how can you improve. And I think a lot of us, especially when we come into this space in the beginning, especially when we're trying to manifest a specific person, I think something that so many of us struggle with is mastering our emotions. But if you want to master, in my opinion, law of attraction, law of assumption, if you want to master a lot of things in life, relationships, business relationships, you have to be able to master your emotions. And this is something that a lot of top leaders, top CEOs, whatever you want to call it, a lot of people in power, I think something that they do a great job at is I think they master emotions. Because how many of us, being real, being honest, how many of us can really actually master our emotions? How many of us could really have 3,000 people working under us, or however many people, 500 people working under us, and be able to handle the day-to-day responsibilities? And look at your own personal life. Look at the stuff that you get emotional about on a regular basis. So when you think about that and then you multiply that times, dealing with 1,000 people, dealing with 500 people, dealing with however many people, it's really a skill. And it's a skill that's learned over time for a lot of us, if we go down that route. But most people, I've realized in life, we never really truly learn how to manage our emotions. And in my opinion, if you don't manage your emotion, whatever you don't control or learn how to control and manage, that thing always has control over you. So for a lot of you people that are out here trying to manifest SPs and different things like that, understand your specific person, whoever that may be, whether it's an old one or whether it's a new one you're trying to bring in, understand that situation is manipulating you right now. Understand you are probably in the process where, whether it's an old SP or whether you're waiting for your new relationship to come in, the situation that you're in right now has so much control over your mind, so much control over your heart. It's becoming detrimental to you, and you're not using it to your advantage. Instead, you're using it to your disadvantage, which is understandably so, because as I've stated multiple times in many videos, we all come to this space at different levels. We're all not at the same level. So it's imperative that you understand wherever you're at today is not supposed to be where you're at 5 years from now. Now, you may still be there 5 years from now because everybody's growth is different, or it takes people different times to understand and get it. But don't let that stop you from continuing to grow. Understand that so many people are in this space of where we are emotional, we react, we get triggered. Our specific person is triggering us. We go on social media and see what they're doing, or we talk to their friends and we find out what they're doing. It's triggering us. We have an emotional response. And one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is making decisions based on that current moment of how they currently feel in that current moment. This is how regret sets in. Regret sets in when you're in a situation and you see something and you don't like it, and your mind starts spiraling out of control, and then all of a sudden you do something or you say something, and then after you cool down, a day later, a week later, a month later, a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, whatever the case may be, you come down or you heal, you fix yourself, and you look back and you think to yourself, damn, I should have never said that. Damn, I shouldn't have did that. But in the moment, so many of us, we struggle and we make these decisions based on how we feel in that moment, not realizing like, yo, an hour from now, I'm not going to feel this way. Why did I say that when I was in the moment, in the heat of it? Why did I act out and do X, Y, and Z in the heat of the moment? Not understanding there's going to be consequences for the words that come out of your mouth and the actions you take by not being in control over your emotions, which is what this video is about. And so I wanted to come on here to tell you guys to understand you have to get a grasp on your emotions if you want to become a powerful manifester. If you want to become a powerful person with law of attraction, law of assumption, all of other stuff, you cannot get your emotions involved to the 3D when you see certain things, when you see your specific person doing X, Y, and Z, your boss at work or your people at work are doing X, Y, and Z, and you feel like the opportunity's not coming to yours. You have to be able to gain control over your emotions, because what you don't want to happen is you don't want to look back a month from now, you don't want to be in the moment, and you don't want to make those bad decisions to say, man, looking back, I wish I wouldn't have did that, because sometimes those regrets can end up lasting a lifetime. And a lot of times when you're talking about dealing in relationships with a lot of people, a lot of times the regrets And specifically in romantic relationships, a lot of time those regrets can last a lifetime when you realized, oh man, I said X, Y, and Z in the moment, but I should have never said that. Because one thing I understand about people is people might forget what you say to them, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So even if they don't necessarily remember what you said word for word at a certain time period or any given, they will most definitely 1000% remember how you made them feel. It's important to remember that when you get caught up in the heat of the moment and you see something on social media that's triggering, or you see or you hear something from somebody at work, whatever the case may be, to ask yourself, why am I getting mad? Because the easiest thing to do is to get mad. The easiest thing to do is to react. Reacting takes no thought. Reacting takes no control. And that's what most people do, is we react. You want to respond. Responding takes thought. Responding takes, let me sit down with my thoughts for a second and gather myself before I open my mouth and say something. And in the beginning, a lot of times, this is not how people are. People are just habitually reacting. If something happens, the first emotion that comes up to the forefront, that's how they're going to act. They're going to open their mouth and they're going to say something. And a lot of times this gets people in a lot of trouble because they don't have power over the emotions. They don't have power over their tongue. And their tongue is just connected to their brain. They're just so used to saying whatever, speaking their mind. But understand, speaking your mind and keeping it real, as people like to say, that can be a weakness if not used properly. Because there's a way and there's a time and a place to say and do any and everything, in my opinion. But a lot of times people, they're so concerned, or they don't care. They have no filters. They think, oh, I'm real. I'm going to say whatever I want to say now. And if you don't like it, take it or leave it. Yeah, that's cool, but see how far that gets you. You know, it's probably not going to get you far a lot of times. And also, too, understand, a lot of times we are giving our emotions away to people that we don't even know. For instance, like with third parties, there's third parties that I realized a lot of people you're giving your emotion to a third party that has no idea you exist, doesn't know your name, doesn't know you from a can of paint. The third party is the one that's innocent. The third party didn't do anything wrong. Maybe it's your specific person that was the one that did something wrong. But I realize a lot of times we give our energy and our emotions away. We allow things that other people say, like politicians and other people. We allow these people to say things and they upset us and they offend us. And it's like, you've never even met this guy. Why is something that this guy is saying that you've never met, that you will never meet, that doesn't care about you, doesn't care where you live, doesn't care about your family? Why are you letting something that this person is saying upset you and get you emotional? Now you're out of whack. Now you're out of the vortex. Now you can't manifest because you literally you got emotional because of something someone said that never even met you, that you don't even know. Make it make sense. But we do this all the time. We allow people to say things to emotionally trigger us. I can't believe they said that. Oh my God, how could they? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yo, you don't even know this person. You don't know them. They don't know you. They don't care about you. You don't even care about them. If they die tomorrow, you're not going to go to their funeral. Why are you giving their words power? You know, you got to take that back. Again, this is why I made this video, to talk about emotional intelligence. I want a lot of you guys to develop emotional intelligence. And this is a part of the law of attraction, law of assumption journey, is to not react when you see certain things in the 3D, and understand that things are shifting. Things are shifting in your opinion, and understand that a lot of times these things are just showing up to see how you're going to experience. And if you don't change the experience, then it's going to keep coming. It's going to keep perpetuating until you react differently to the circumstances. This is no different than people attracting toxic relationships. It's easy for people to get triggered and get mad at the opposite sex, or and say, oh, women ain't shit, men ain't shit. But you got to ask yourself, what's the common denominator between all of the bad toxic relationships you've been in? The common denominator is you. You are the common denominator. You are the one that has been with all of these bad women, or you are the one that have been with all of these bad men. So ask yourself, instead of blaming them, now you got to get to the point and look in the mirror and ask yourself, why am I attracting all of these toxic people? Oh, on some level inside of me, I must be toxic. Why am I saying yes to this stuff that I know is unacceptable? Maybe I don't feel good enough. Maybe I don't feel worthy. Maybe those are the self-concept, self-dialogue I've been telling myself decade after decade or year after year, because I grew up and I had some issues that I never faced. At some point, you have to understand it's all emotional intelligence. It gets to the point to where you stop pointing fingers and blaming other people and stop getting triggered by what other people are saying and doing, and understanding that you're giving that person power. If somebody does something, it's up to you whether you get offended or not because of what they said. We're being taught to automatically be offended at something somebody said. We're being taught to be victims nowadays. We're being taught, oh, if somebody says X, Y, and Z, you should be upset. No, I get to decide what makes me upset and what doesn't make me upset. Not the government, not CNN, not Fox News, not the British Broadcasting Channel. I'm not going to allow other people to determine for me what I think should be offensive. I'm not going to get emotional based on what the news says I should get emotional about. I'm going to take my power back. I'm going to grow. I'm going to master LOA. And I encourage all of you to do the same. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to click the next one because I'm sure you'll enjoy that one too.